Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Rivera again. We're here with another Facebook Live event. Actually, this is our sort of the second part of our dual degree Facebook Live webinar. We had one before, but our student who was in the MD MBA program, unfortunately, at the last minute couldn't make it. So we figured we'd bring three of our current students here so that you guys can ask questions of them. And so I'm joined behind me by Samantha, Azah, and Sean. And so what I'm going to have them do is, why don't you guys just, you'll just quickly introduce yourself, and it's snowing out. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So just quickly introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why you chose NYU, why you chose the MD, MBA, and how it's been going thus far. All right, so take it away, guys. You guys just slide on up and I'll get out of your way. It's a small office.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry.
So Azah Bakar, as you said, and we're in the MD MBA program. I'll start off with why I chose NYU School of Medicine. So I'm originally from New York. That was a big reason for me. But also one thing that drew me here was Bellevue. I really wanted a big public hospital where I can get a lot of hands-on teaching from really amazing faculty that have been here for so long. So I really chose NYU for those two reasons. Why the MD MBA program is because going through my rotations, I fell in love with emergency medicine and really started to get involved in quality improvement across the hospital. As you guys know, entering the field, the medical field the healthcare space in the US is going through a lot of changes right now, and I really want to be at the forefront of those changes and helping better our healthcare system in the US and both globally. So I really want to go to business school to understand the business side of healthcare. And then I think we can do introductions and we can talk about what we're doing in business school now, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm Samantha Naniakara. I can also talk to why I chose NYU like Azah did. So I'm originally from Mississippi, so I don't have any ties to New York, but I went to college in the Northeast and I liked the area. And I similarly chose NYU because of Bellevue. I think it's a big draw for students. It's a large public hospital, and not a lot of public hospitals are left in the US, and just the breadth and depth of training that you can get at Bellevue is really unparalleled. And I also, like Azah, am going into emergency medicine, and emergency medicine is one of those fields, because it's so new and so dynamic, there's a lot to be done in terms of quality improvement. And it's a field that's really driven by younger attendings and residents. So I think there's a lot of work that we can do as medical students as well. So I also got involved in some quality improvement projects, and that's kind of why I ended up going to business school, but I can talk more about the specifics of how I got there.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shauna Magadzi. I'm also a fourth year MD MBA. Part of the reason I chose NYU was really I felt like it was a very innovative school, and both in terms of its curriculum and how it allowed us to get early clinical exposure that gave me a strong sense of what I wanted to do clinically. I came in with an interest in psychiatry and continued to like that path, but having opportunities to see other areas of medicine made me realize that regardless of what specialty I go into, we're part of a greater healthcare ecosystem. And I just wanted the opportunity to learn more just beyond what we were learning in the hospital. So I was able to take advantage of NYU's partnership with the STERN program, and that really was kind of what influenced me, just that curiosity and the fact that they made it really easy for us to pursue those opportunities.
Yes, we can talk now about just what we've been doing in the business school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we all started this past August. Business school class-wise it's a structure very similar to undergrad in terms of you're taking 5 classes, balancing those. They're all across different, you take a bunch of core classes, so accounting and things that I've never seen before. But alongside that, what I did with my time, there's a lot, even outside of classes, you have a lot of time to explore and do a lot of things, whatever you want to do. There are almost too many opportunities to choose from, so you really have to kind of decide early on, like, what do you want to do and what do you want to pursue and put your time into. So I decided to pursue healthcare consulting for a summer job. So through the fall, I was doing the entire like recruiting process, as I say, where you go meet with companies and do all that. And so I will be working with a company that's based in New Jersey, the Boston Consulting Group, for their like a healthcare summer internship for 10 weeks to see how consultants and not necessarily MDs, like they do have some MDs, but not necessarily MDs, how they tackle issues in the healthcare space from the business side of it. And other than that, you still have a lot of time to do a bunch of other things. So I've still been involved in my quality improvement stuff with the emergency medicine department throughout the business school, as well as teaching our practice of medicine course, which third and fourth year, or mostly fourth year students get to participate in and help teach the first and second years.
Yeah. I think what Ozzy said is all accurate. I did not go through the recruiting process, so I can't really speak to that. It's a very intensive and rigorous process that Ozzy can speak more about. But I think a lot of people go through it, find it to be a really rewarding process, and you learn a lot about yourself and learn a lot about medicine, about business. So I would say, yeah, I think business school is kind of a throwback to the beginning of med school, where we had more of a lecture style curriculum. So it's very strange to go from doing clinical rotations for almost 2 years to going back to the classroom. So that was a big adjustment. But I think the classes, I don't come from a business background at all, so they're completely new to me. I'm learning a lot. Our classmates are very inquisitive, very smart, and so I think class participation is a big part of business school. So I think our conversations are always very interesting, and we always walk away from our classes having learned more than we thought we could have.
Yeah. I'd love to echo those points and say that I feel like my experience has been almost like kind of very similar to med school in the way that you come in very open-minded and you don't quite necessarily know like what you're going to do per se, or like what you're going to find that's really going to spark your interest. I really came in like very open-minded, and I was happy to see that like certain things started to pick my interest. So like I got really interested in marketing and really interested in some of the leadership and change management areas. And the really nice thing about the program is that there's so much flexibility, and almost like instantaneously you can get into electives and start to tailor the path you want to take in business school. And you can go as deep as doing an internship like Ozzy did, where you can find other opportunities, whether it's working with a startup in the city or doing a research project, or finding some way to just like establish some kind of collaboration with the medical school and the business school. A lot of those resources are available to you. So for me personally, I've just been taking the time to learn as much as I can, and then like also trying as much as I can to contribute to the Stern community and getting to know those people, because it kind of just opens up a whole host of doors for you in terms of things you didn't even realize were possible in medicine or even outside of medicine that you can start to explore. So I found that very good.
Yeah. And two things I wanted to emphasize, I think all of us spoke about this, that like the classroom is half of it and you're learning a lot of the business stuff in there. Beyond that, in the MBA program, you have so much time to just explore what you want to do. And like in a way that like we didn't necessarily have that time while you're on rotation. So it's really refreshing to be able to be like, okay, like what do I actually like and how do I pursue that? As well as just to speak about some of the other students. There's 7 of us in the program, and some of the other opportunities that they've taken advantage of. So there's one, Luke, who's doing kind of venture capital, like healthcare venture capital, kind of due diligence projects to really assess startups and see whether his firm would like to invest in these healthcare startups. As well as Sarah's wife, Back, who's very involved in, even before medical school, very involved in entrepreneurship and healthcare tech startup stuff. So she's doing a lot of work with some companies here in New York, and there's actually a really great startup ecosystem here in New York as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think do we really talk about this, why all of us went to business school? I think everyone who's in the program is there for a different reason. I guess I can start and talk about why I went to business school. So I, coming into med school, knew that I wanted to do more than just practice. And I think I had taken some courses in college in global health and bioethics. And I knew there were more like social science aspects of medicine that interested me, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with that. And then my first year of medical school, I got involved with the New York City Free Clinic, which I think there's been a Facebook Live event for that as well. But it's a really great free clinic that we have here at the school. It's entirely run by students. So I served as the director during my first and second year of medical school before I started my rotations. And I think through that experience, I realized that I wanted to be more involved in healthcare administration. So this summer, after my first year of medical school, I did a healthcare leadership and administration fellowship through the emergency department with Dr. Tina Wu. She's amazing. And I learned a lot through that fellowship. And I think from there, she had also gone to business school. So she talked to me about why she went to business school and kind of the pros and cons of doing business school at all versus doing it now versus doing it later. And I think I decided that being able to do business school while I was still in medical school, while I was still a student, I didn't have to take time off from a full-time job. And while I still got to be in business school with people who were around my age, I thought that would be a great opportunity. Plus, it's only a year extra of school. So I think for me, the reason I went to business school is so that I could get the skills that I would need to be a really effective and good administrator, so I could do more for my patients, improve hospital care for my patients. What about you guys?
Yeah, similar for me. There was that initial interest, and I feel like that was a product of, I took 2 years off before I started med school. So I was working in a pretty busy medical practice, and I got to see really like what happened beyond just pure patient care. And so much of those decisions and meetings really dictated how well patients got treated. So that was something that really sparked my interest, like, okay, I could make an impact beyond just the patients I'm seeing in the clinic. And then similar to Sam, I was on the exec board for the Free Clinic. I was directing outreach, and I got to see how making partnerships throughout the community, almost like in a business development role of sorts, kind of really drove like patient traffic to the clinic, and that helped really achieve our mission in the Free Clinic. So getting those early exposures, I thought to myself, like, this is something I want to make a part of my career. I don't know exactly how much I want to devote to it, but I knew that there was the interest. And I knew that by going to the MD MBA, I would at least come out with the skills and a set of network, and then also the credibility, so that whenever I'd want to, maybe make that leap and do something a bit more than day-to-day practice, I'd be prepared to do that. So for me, it was like a very, I thought a lot about it. I spoke to Dean Rivera about it too and got his input, but ultimately I made that decision, and I really haven't regretted it, because every day is a new learning opportunity. And as I'd stated before, like, a lot of it is like the things you didn't even know were available. Suddenly, like, the picture becomes a bit clearer now that you took a step out and you began to like look at new areas you normally wouldn't have looked at. So that was a big motivation for me.
Yeah, and so I spoke about mine a little bit. So I was very interested in quality improvement for my so between first and second year, you have summer to kind of, most people do research or work. I did an international health project over in London. It's at the Royal College of Psychiatry, and it was related to kind of accreditation of standards to assess the quality of care that patients with dementia in the UK health system receive there. So it was my first exposure to kind of, I guess, the business side or like more research side of healthcare, and how we actually both assess quality of care and how to, from there, improve it. And so that, even then, I actually was not thinking about business school at all. But after that, once I started going through rotations and seeing all the inefficiencies, and like, especially like in Bellevue, like, obviously it's like a public hospital and it's underserved communities, and seeing how those inefficiencies within the health system really affected the patients directly was really when I was like, okay, I want to be part of this in my career. I don't necessarily want to practice full time. I want to tackle like more administrative, how do I fix the system? And so decided to go to business school for that reason. And I also, I had some alumni friend that had graduated like 3-4 years prior, who had done the MD MBA program at NYU. So I was able to talk to them about their experience throughout that and what they took away from it, and kind of like, was it worth it for them? What did they plan to do with it? Those kind of stuff, and really decided that for me, it was definitely the best option to do it now. and really get to explore so I can think about kind of what I want to do with my future early on and have that set.
So, I mean, usually I help to moderate, but you guys don't need any help moderating. I'll just take this seat out and I'll stand in the back there. But, you know, I've got something in common with these guys in the sense that, you know, I went to Stern too. I graduated in 2015. So, you know, when Sean and I were talking about it, you know, it was good reminiscing about the time that I had at Stern. I really enjoyed the 2 years that I spent there. You really start to look at things in medicine from a different perspective. It opens up your eyes to a different side of medicine, and you start asking new questions, things that you might not have thought before. You know, I chose to do the MBA when I did, partly because it wasn't an option for me when I was in medical school. They didn't have many dual degree options then. And there are pros and cons to doing it while you're in school and when you're doing it afterwards. You know, that decision is individualized, but I do think that there are definite benefits of doing it while you're in medical school, not the least of which is the savings of time, the ability to be able to immerse yourself fully without having to worry about how it's going to integrate with your job or with the family that you may have. But regardless, the content, we can talk about some of the same professors. Anybody's taken a class by Glenn Oken?
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome, right? So, you know, and I know for a fact Stern loves NYU School of Medicine students. Absolutely love. Diane Leonard, you know, sings your praises whenever she comes up here. So, just general facts about how many students would you say in each year participate in the MD MBA?
This year we have 7, I know. Last year's class, what is it, around 7 to 8?
Yeah, I think in the past it's been as many as 15, but I think this year is fewer. But.
Yeah, and I think the acceptance rate is near 100% for folks.
Yeah.
And then in terms of when you fit the content in the curriculum, so typically it's after you've done stage 2, which is the clerkship year, correct?
Yes. So at the end of towards the end of clerkship year is when we all applied, so around December of 2017. And then I think we all heard back around February of 2018, and then we started in August of 2018. So at the end of our 3rd year of med school, then we started our MBA. And we do that for 2 semesters. So we're currently in our 2nd semester. And then in the fall, we go back to finish our medical school requirements, apply to residency. And then in the spring of 2020, we'll go back and finish our MBA. So it's 3 semesters total.
I will say a pro of doing it now is the application is a lot easier now than having to take your GMAT and do all that later.
Yes, they waived the GMAT, which is a nice.
Yeah,
nice
and there's no interview or anything either for us, so.
So, oh, sorry.
No, I would just like to also talk about, it's a really nice network of people too. Like, you get to not even just the other MBA students, but I'm specifically talking about the MD MBAs. Like, we've all started together, but since our time, we've gotten to know each other a lot better. You really get a chance to know the other MBA twos, the people who are above us that are doing the MBA, and we've all gotten together at points. We've had mixers and different networking events, and it's a really cool, like, almost grassroots community that's growing out of NYU, and it's only getting bigger every year. So that's something that we're gonna be a part of for the rest of our careers. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
So if there aren't any questions now, you always can reach out to us, either the admissions office or the Ask an Ambassador, email, or just post questions on the Facebook page. Carrie, when is our next?
27th.
All right. So, and what's that one going to be?
Balsa.
All right. So Balsa is going to be having a Facebook Live event on February 27th. So hopefully you'll be able to tune into that or see it thereafter. But again, thank you for taking the time to chat with us about the MD MBA. And hopefully we'll see a lot of you here in the entering classes coming August. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.